My wife told me she and my two daughters were spending Christmas with her ex. She said the girls needed their real father. Then she looked me in the eye and said, "If you don't like it, divorce me." I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I quietly accepted the France transfer I had refused for years. 2 weeks later, she came home and realized what she had done. That was when my phone rang. She was calling me in a panic. Before we continue, please comment where you are watching from and subscribe so you can hear more stories like this. Please comment where you are watching from, and subscribe so you can hear more stories like this. My phone rang at 2:17 a.m. The screen showed my wife's name. I was in a small hotel room in France, far from home, far from my daughters, far from the Christmas tree we used to decorate together. I had been awake anyway, staring at the ceiling like it was going to explain my life to me. I answered, and her voice came out shaking, fast, and scared. "Please," she cried. "Come back. Something is wrong." I sat up slowly. My suitcase was still half open on the floor. My work badge was on the table beside a cup of cold tea. I could hear rain tapping the window like tiny fingers. I did not say, "What happened?" Right away. I did not say, "Are the girls okay?" Right away. I wanted to, but my throat felt tight. Then she said the words that made my whole body go cold. "It's the girls," she whispered. "I can't find them." I held the phone tighter. My mind flashed like lightning, showing pictures of my daughters laughing, eating cereal, fighting over crayons, hugging my legs when I came home late. My heart began to pound so hard it hurt. "Where are you?" I asked. "At home," she said. "I just got back. I thought they would be here." "They're not here. And he's not answering." Her ex. My hand shook. I looked at the clock again. 2:17 a.m. 2 weeks ago, she told me she and our two daughters were spending Christmas with her ex, and she told me to divorce her if I disagreed. I had said nothing and accepted the France transfer I had refused for years. And now, 2 weeks later, she was calling in panic. I stared at the dark window. My reflection looked like a stranger. A tired father. A man who had tried to keep peace for too long. A man who had been quiet when he should have asked harder questions. My wife kept talking, begging, crying, but the sound started to fade like I was underwater. I could only hear one sentence, again and again in my head. "I can't find them." I took a slow breath. Then I asked, very calmly, "Tell me exactly what happened. Start from the beginning." And that is where my real story begins. 2 weeks earlier, it was a sunny afternoon, and the air smelled like roasted groundnuts from a street cellar near our gate. Christmas was close, and my daughters were excited. They kept singing a silly Christmas song they learned at school. They were 9 and 7, old enough to understand when something felt wrong, but still young enough to hope everything would be fine. I came home from work carrying a small bag of oranges and a cheap toy I found on my way. I was not rich, but I tried. I always tried. I had promised myself that my daughters would always feel safe, no matter what happened between me and their mother. When I entered the living room, I saw my wife sitting with her arms folded. Her face looked hard, like a door that was locked. The TV was off. The room was quiet. That quiet told me trouble was waiting. "Welcome," she said, but her voice was not warm. I put the bag down and forced a smile. "What's wrong?" She did not answer right away. She stared at the wall for a moment like she was choosing her words. Then she said, "We need to talk about Christmas." I nodded. "Okay. What about it?" She took a deep breath. "I'm taking the girls to spend Christmas with him." At first, I thought I heard her wrong. "With who?" "With my ex," she said. "They need their real father." Those words hit my chest like a hard shove. Real father. I was standing right there. I was the one who woke up at night when they had fever. I was the one who attended school meetings. I was the one who carried them on my shoulders at the park. I was the one who fixed their broken toys with tape and hope. I tried to stay calm. "Why would you say that? I'm their father." She looked at me with a small smile that was not kind. "You're just the man in the house. He is the real father figure they need." My daughters were in their room, giggling, unaware of the storm. I lowered my voice. "Please, don't talk like that. It's not fair to me, and it will confuse them." She stood up and walked closer. "I'm not asking you. I'm telling you." My hands felt hot. My mind wanted to shout. But I remembered my daughters' faces. I did not want them to hear us fighting. I tried another way. Why now? I asked. Why Christmas? Why can't we do Christmas together, as a family? She waved her hand. Because you make everything heavy. You always want to talk, talk, talk. Christmas should be fun. He understands me. He knows how to make it special. I swallowed hard. Are you saying you're going there for the girls, or for you? Her eyes flashed. Don't question me. I took a step back. I'm not trying to fight. I just want to understand. Then she said it, cold and sharp, like she had practiced it. If you don't like it, divorce me. The room felt smaller. My chest felt tight. I realized something painful in that moment. She was not trying to solve a problem. She was daring me to break. She wanted control, not peace. I could have argued. I could have shouted. I could have begged. But I had done those things before, in other fights, and it never fixed anything. It only made me look weak in my own home. So I did something she did not expect. I went quiet. I turned and walked to our bedroom. In a drawer, there was a folder with papers I had not touched for a long time. Inside was an email from my company about a transfer to France. It was a good position, better pay, and a clean start. I had refused it for years because I wanted to stay near my daughters. I wanted to be the father who was present, not the father who sent money and missed everything. But standing there, holding that folder, I asked myself a simple question. If I stay, will I still be respected as a father? I already knew the answer. That night, while my wife acted like nothing happened, I replied to my boss. I accept the France transfer. When I clicked send, my finger felt heavy. Not because I was scared of France, but because I knew what accepting meant. It meant change. It meant distance. It meant my daughters would miss me. It meant I would miss them even more. The next day, I did not tell my wife right away. I watched my daughters eat breakfast. One of them had milk foam on her lip, and the other one laughed so hard she almost fell off the chair. I wanted to freeze time. I wanted to protect that moment from the messy world. Later, I took them outside and bought them hot meat pies. We sat on a bench and talked about their school and their friends. I tried to memorize their voices, their jokes, their little habits. Because deep inside, I felt a low, sad truth. When adults make selfish choices, children pay the price. A few days later, I told my wife I was traveling for work. She only shrugged. She did not ask how long. She did not ask if I was okay. She looked almost pleased, like my absence would make her plans easier. That was my low moment. Not the transfer. Not France. Not even her cruel words. The low moment was realizing I had been carrying love alone. Then came a high moment. The day I left, my daughters hugged me so tightly my eyes burned. I knelt down and told them, no matter where I am your father. No one can take that from you. And I will always come for you if you need me. They nodded, trusting me the way only children can. 2 weeks passed in France. I worked during the day and missed them at night. I watched families on the street holding hands, and it felt like someone was squeezing my heart. Then, on that rainy night, the phone rang. My wife was in panic. The girls are gone, she cried. He's not answering. I stood up so fast the chair fell back. My breath came fast. My mind raced. I wanted to shout at her, this is your fault. But there was no time for that. 2 little girls were missing. I grabbed my passport, my jacket, my phone charger, anything my hands touched. My wife kept crying into the phone. And then she said something else, something that made my stomach twist. I found a note, she whispered. And it has your name on it. I froze. What note? I asked. But she did not answer. I only heard a strange sound, like a door slamming, and then the line went quiet. The line went dead. I stared at my phone like it might come back to life on its own. I called her name. I called again. No answer. Only silence. My heart felt like it had dropped into my stomach. I stood in the middle of the hotel room, holding my phone, breathing hard, trying not to panic. 2 little girls. My girls. I forced myself to slow down. Panic does not help missing children. I had learned that long ago, back when my first daughter once wandered off in a market for 5 minutes and I thought my heart would stop. This was worse. Much worse. I called my wife again. No answer. I sat on the edge of the bed and thought carefully. She said she found a note. She said it had my name on it. That made no sense. I had been in France for 2 weeks. I had not written any note. I had not planned anything. So why my name? Then another thought hit me, sharp and ugly. Someone wanted me to be blamed. I grabbed my laptop and opened my email. I searched my inbox for anything strange. Nothing. I checked my messages. Nothing. My hands shook, but my mind was now working fast. I knew one thing clearly. I could not sit in France and wait. I booked the first flight home. It was early morning, and the airport was busy. People walked around with coffee cups and sleepy faces, thinking about work, holidays, normal things. I wanted to scream at them. The world felt wrong, too calm for what was happening in my life. On the plane, I could not sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my daughters' faces. I kept asking myself the same question again and again. Why would she take them to her ex's place without a clear plan? Why would she trust him so much? And why would there be a note with my name? When the plane landed, I did not wait. I rushed out, took a taxi, and went straight home. The house looked the same from the outside. Quiet, normal. That scared me more than noise. My wife was sitting on the floor when I entered. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were red and swollen. Papers were spread everywhere like a storm had passed through the room. She looked up when she saw me and burst into tears. "Thank God you're here," she cried. I did not hug her. Not because I did not care, but because my body felt stiff, like wood. "Where are the girls?" I asked. She shook her head. "I don't know. I came back early because I felt something was wrong. His place was empty. No one was there. I thought the girls were home already. I thought maybe you brought them back." I clenched my fists. Why would I bring them back? You told me to leave. You told me to accept the transfer. She looked down. "I didn't think you would really go." Those words burned. I took a deep breath. "Show me the note." She stood up slowly and handed me a folded piece of paper. My name was written on the front in big letters. The handwriting was not mine. I knew my handwriting very well. I opened it and read. "Don't look for them. You should have stayed out of our lives. This is your punishment." My legs felt weak. I read it again. Punishment. Stayed out of our lives. This was not written by someone calm. This was written by someone angry. "This is not my writing," I said. She nodded quickly. "I know. But the police might not believe that." That was the moment I understood the danger. Not only were my daughters missing, but I was now part of a story that could turn against me. "We need to call the police," I said. She hesitated. "What if they think it's you?" I looked at her sharply. "Do you think it's me?" She did not answer right away. That silence hurt more than any accusation. Then she said, "I don't know what to think anymore." That was a low moment. Realizing that the woman I had shared a life with could doubt me so easily. But there was no time for feelings. We called the police. They arrived quickly. They asked questions. Many questions. Where were the girls last seen? When was the last call? Who was the ex? Why was there a note? Why had I left the country? I answered everything calmly. I told the truth. I showed my flight tickets. My work transfer papers. My hotel booking. Everything. One officer looked at the note again and said, "This looks planned." That scared me. They went to the ex's house. No one was there. Neighbors said they saw him leave late at night 2 days ago with bags. One neighbor said they heard children crying. Another said they thought it was just normal noise. I wanted to punch the wall when I heard that. How could people ignore children crying? Hours passed. The house felt empty and heavy. Toys lay on the floor where my daughters left them. A half-finished drawing sat on the table. I picked it up and my hands shook. It was a picture of our family, drawn in bright colors. All of us were holding hands. That was a high moment in a strange way. A reminder that my daughters still saw me as their father. As part of their world. Then the phone rang again. This time, it was a police officer. "We found something," he said. "You need to come now." My heart raced. "Did you find the girls?" There was a pause. Too long. "We found a car," he said. "It belongs to your wife's ex. It was abandoned near the old highway." My wife grabbed my arm. "Abandoned," she whispered. "Yes," the officer said. "And there was something inside." "What?" I asked. Another pause. "A small shoe," he said. "A child's shoe." My knees almost gave way. And then he said the words that turned fear into pure terror. "It looks like there was a struggle." My ears rang after the officer spoke. A child's shoe. A struggle. Those words kept hitting my head like loud drums. I felt sick. My wife started crying loudly, her body shaking. I held her arm, not to comfort her, but to keep her from falling. We followed the police car to the old highway. The place looked forgotten. Tall grass, broken road signs, and silence that felt wrong. The car was there, parked sideways like it had been left in a hurry. One door was open. I walked closer, slowly, afraid of what else I might see. The officer stopped me with his hand. "Sir, please stay back." Inside the car, there were small marks on the seat. Dirt. A broken toy. And on the ground, near the door, was the shoe. Pink, small, and familiar. I knew it. I bought that shoe myself for my younger daughter. My chest felt like it was being crushed. I dropped to my knees. I did not cry. I could not. My body felt empty, like all the strength had been pulled out of me. A father is not supposed to see things like this. A father is supposed to protect. The police searched the area. Dogs were brought in. They followed a scent into the bushes, then stopped near a small river. The water moved quietly, like nothing bad had ever happened near it. That was a low moment. Standing there, watching the water, my mind filled with terrible thoughts. I prayed silently. I begged God, even though I was angry, even though I was confused. Please let my girls be alive. Hours later, the police found another clue. A phone. It belonged to the ex. It was broken, but they said it could still be checked. They took us back home and told us to wait. Waiting was torture. Every second felt too long. I sat on the couch, staring at the door, expecting my daughters to walk in like it was all a bad dream. Then I remembered something. 2 days before I left for France, my older daughter had hugged me and whispered, "Daddy, if anything happens, I know you will find us." That memory gave me strength. It turned my fear into something else. Determination. I stood up and looked at my wife. "Tell me the truth," I said. "Everything. No more hiding." She wiped her face. Her voice was small. "He wasn't supposed to take them out of town. He promised. He said it was just for Christmas fun." My hands trembled. "Did he ever threaten you? Did he ever talk about hurting me?" She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "He said you didn't deserve them," she whispered. "He said you were weak for leaving." My jaw tightened. Leaving. As if I left because I didn't care. I left because I was pushed away. The police called again that evening. "We traced the phone," the officer said. "There is activity near the border." "Border?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "And there is more. We found a video." My heart stopped. "What kind of video?" "It was sent from his phone," the officer said. "To your wife. But it didn't fully send." My wife covered her mouth. "Can we see it?" I asked. There was a pause. Then the officer said quietly, "You should prepare yourselves." They sent the video. My hands shook as I pressed play. The screen showed darkness at first. Then my daughters' voices. Crying. Calling my name. "Daddy," one of them sobbed. "Please come." The video ended suddenly. I let out a sound that did not feel human. Something broke inside me. I stood up so fast the chair fell backward. "They're alive," I said. "They're alive. And he knows exactly what he's doing." At that moment, I made a promise to myself. I would not be quiet anymore. Just then, my phone rang again. This time, it was not the police. It was an unknown number. I answered. And a man's voice said, calmly and clearly, "If you ever want to see your daughters again, you will do exactly what I say." Then he hung up. My hands were shaking, but my voice stayed calm. I called the number back. It did not go through. I tried again. Nothing. My wife was crying again, asking what he said, asking what he wanted. I raised my hand to stop her. "He wants control," I said. "That's all." The police told us not to answer unknown calls again, but I knew something they did not say out loud. If he called, it meant he wanted something from me, not the police. That meant my daughters were still alive. That small hope kept me standing. An hour later, my phone buzzed. A message came in. "No police. No tracking. Come alone. Tomorrow morning. I will send location." My wife grabbed my phone. "Don't go," she cried. "Please." I looked at her. Really looked at her. She looked smaller than before. Scared. Broken. This was another low moment. The moment when I understood that her choices had opened a door she could not close. "I'm their father," I said. "If I don't go, who will?" I contacted the police quietly. They argued with me, warned me, but they also knew something important. A father who believes his children are alive will not be stopped. That night, I did not sleep. I packed a small bag. I prayed. I thought about my daughters. Their laughs. Their fears. The promise I made to them. Morning came too fast. A new message arrived with a location. An old warehouse near the docks. Far from houses. Far from help. I drove there alone. The building looked dead. Rusted doors. Broken windows. No sound except the sea far away. I stepped inside slowly. Hello. I called. Then I heard it. Crying. Daddy. My heart almost stopped. I ran toward the sound, calling their names. But before I could reach them, something hard hit the back of my head. The world went black. I woke up on a cold floor. My head hurt badly. My vision was blurry, but the first thing I heard made me forget the pain. Daddy, Daddy. I pushed myself up. My hands were tied, but my legs were free. Across the room, I saw my daughters sitting together, holding each other tightly. They were scared, dirty, but alive. I cried out their names. They cried too. That moment was the highest point of my life and the lowest at the same time. Seeing them alive gave me strength. Seeing them hurt broke my heart. Then he stepped out of the shadows. My wife's ex. He looked calm, like this was all a game. You shouldn't have left, he said. If you stayed, this wouldn't have happened. I stared at him with anger I had never felt before. You took innocent children, I said. This is on you. He laughed. She gave them to me. She chose me. I just finished what she started. Those words hit harder than the blow to my head. But I stayed focused. I spoke slowly, carefully. Let them go. I'm here. You wanted me. That was when sirens filled the air. His smile disappeared. The police burst in from all sides. He tried to run, but it was too late. He was tackled to the ground, shouting lies, blaming everyone but himself. The officers cut my hands free. I ran to my daughters and held them so tightly they could feel my heart beating. They cried, but this time, it was safe crying. Later, at the hospital, my wife tried to speak to me. I listened quietly. I made a mistake, she said. I didn't think things would go this far. I looked at my daughters sleeping peacefully and then back at her. Some mistakes change lives forever, I said. And some choices cannot be undone. I filed for divorce. I kept my promise to my daughters. I stayed. I fought. I protected. And here is the lesson of this story. Silence is not weakness, but love without boundaries is dangerous. Respect matters. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them before it is too late. I did not lose my children. I found my strength. And that was the day I stopped being quiet.